Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Hamzah Sheeraz stops Ammo Williams, Austin Williams, in 11 rounds. In I guess you'd call this a really mature coming-of-age performance. Sheeraz, 25 years old, enormous for middleweight, 6'3", and he used those dimensions so intelligently. Orthodox fighter against a 6 foot tall, southpaw. It was just a very impressive, mature performance for such a young man. And the concern that I had when I made my prediction is that Sheeraz, he just didn't have the rounds. He didn't have those long fights to sort of bed himself in. But he didn't need them. I mean, clearly this kid is a very special talent indeed. And he fought against a guy who had a great jaw, a lot of heart. Williams never stopped trying. In fact, Sheeraz got buzzed early on. I think it was the second round. There was a big southpaw backhand, left hand from Williams that badly stung Sheeraz. And Sheeraz was sort of holding on. He wasn't ultra buzzed, but clearly that was a warning sign. And Williams had further success with the same punch, didn't land it as cleanly. But Sheeraz was over the first few rounds, was just trying to find the range, trying to find the rhythm, trying to find the footwork, the right positioning maybe against the southpaw. But it was always going to be a case of Williams, because Sheeraz was using his range very well, his dimensions very well. Williams was going to really have to outwork him, get in close and shoe shine and, rally, throw lots of punches. And he was trying to do that. There were some occasions when Sheeraz was tucking up very, very well, getting the old shell together and soaking up the punches. And Williams was trying to sort of find those little angles, sides, little half steps, sort of punch around the corner, so to speak. But Sheeraz defensively was extremely good. And in the post-fight interviews, Sheeraz said, the plan was to sort of get up close and beat him up on the inside as well, and there was some of that going on. I think as the fight was, certainly after the first 6 rounds, that was happening. But he did both. Sheeraz used his dimensions very, very well. Excellent jab, which began to take its toll on Williams' face. One of his eyes was swollen. I think it was the right eye was beginning to swell quite badly. He was spitting blood. Sheeraz had some abrasions underneath both eyes, but no cuts. I didn't see any blood coming from his nose or his mouth. Maybe a little bit of a nosebleed. No big deal at all. And as the fight wore on, he just looked like the physically stronger fighter, the fighter who was more comfortable in there, and the fighter with the heavier hands. And to be honest with you, after about 8 rounds, Williams was really, his body language didn't look good. His face certainly didn't look good. It was all smashed up. He seemed to have run out of ideas. Whenever you hear someone say before a fight, well, I'm going to turn this into Hagler Hearns, or you think, well, really? Because Hagler Hearns was a unique punch-up. So you're assuming it's going to be a punch-up? You're assuming the other guy's going to want to have a punch-up? Is that your game plan? And yeah, Williams did appear to be emotionally very, very like a coiled spring. But he was the one that had done the more rounds than Sheeraz. So you could say, well, okay, we know Williams can do hard, tough fights, long fights. Can Sheeraz? Yes, he can. He most certainly can. Because even though he had things pretty much his own way for, 2/3 of the fight, certainly the last 4 or 5 rounds, he still had to watch himself. He still had to keep it simple, the corner were telling him, which was a good bit of advice. Just keep the jab going, bang the right hand over. He couldn't really miss it. And then at the end of the 10th round, Williams just sort of posed, stood in front of him. And then as he went to spring in, Sheeraz let his right hand go. And it sort of clipped Williams and put him on the floor. He sort of spun round, or was half spun round, and sort of sat down. He was put on his haunches, almost on his backside. And he got up, and the bell more or less saved him. I mean, his face was just a bloody mess. His blood coming out of his mouth, blood coming out of his nose. Between rounds, no quitting. The guy was saying, oh, what round is this? I got this, don't worry, And he came out for that 11th round, just letting enormous volleys of punches go. Didn't matter what he was hitting, the arms, the elbows, the shoulders. But Sheeraz, again, covered up beautifully. He was on the ropes for a little while, and he came, and he sprang forward, Sheeraz, with his own punch. And just the one backhand was enough to send Williams spinning away. So all that work that he'd done, all those punches he'd attempted to throw, had no real effect on Sheeraz. Sheeraz with one big, accurate, hard, precise, perfectly delivered right hand had Williams spinning away. Sheeraz tore after him, landed further punches. Williams sort of staggered back into the ropes, touched down really, I think, with his glove. He was in the corner, arms sort of spread across the ropes, and the referee stopped it, and rightly so, because Williams had nothing to prove. He's clearly got a ton of guts. He's clearly got a good jaw, but this was a brilliant performance by Hamzah Sheeraz. A real coming out party for him. He's a special talent indeed. And Williams at 28, he's got plenty of time to come back, but this is not shaping up well for Matchroom. They're now all 3 fights have gone Queensberry's way. Their captain has scored a knockout, so that's double points. And I believe I'm right, in the last 2 fights, Matchroom's fighters, which would be Philip Hrgovic and Deontay Wilder, have got to score knockouts for there to simply be a draw, I think, or something like that. But it's definitely, so far, it's Queensberry's night all night long. So what did you think of the fight? Comments below, as always. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you don't mind doing that, that'd be a big help. And also hit the like button. It's been a good night of boxing, and there is more to come. So expect more review videos later on tonight. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to reading your comments, and bye for now.